Welcome to this video on the illusory appropriator, a transdisciplinary analysis of the ego phenomenon in the age of digital simulacra. The ego is not an entity, but a pathological process of appropriation. The mind is a good servant, but a poor master. The root of the illusion is the I thought as the first crystal. In Advaita, pure consciousness and the phenomenal mind are fundamentally separate. All mental abilities are merely modes of the ego. Aham vritti is the root thought that becomes the center for all subsequent identifications. The ego acts as an artificial boundary and a vector of effort. Osho described it as the boundary between man and the ocean of existence. It is a tension between what is and what should be. The ego strives to affirm its separateness and assigns a future to avoid the frightening simplicity of, quote, being. In psychoanalysis, the ego shifts from a servant of reality to a center of consciousness. For Freud, the ego serves the reality principle, managing the threat of the unconscious, ID. For Jung, the ego is just a complex of personal contents around the axis of self-consciousness, not the center of the entire psyche. The danger lies in the ego mistaking itself for the master of the house. The self, samukdeb, is the archetype of wholeness, the true owner of the psyche. Pathology arises when the ego forgets its subservient role and identifies with the self, resulting in grandiosity and narcissism. In neurophysiology, the appropriator hides in the process, not the structure. fMRI studies show that a single ego center does not exist. The default mode network, activated during self-referential thoughts, is the mental space where the ego constantly unfolds its narrative about itself. The feeling of separateness is not an absolute constant, but a dynamic mode of neural network operation. Gamma rhythms, which synchronize frontal and parietal lobes, can shift decision-making towards altruism. Ego depletion shows that self-control works on finite fuel, proving its process-based nature. The quantum metaphor posits consciousness as a field of infinite possibilities. In quantum mechanics, an electron exists in a mixed state of probabilities, superposition, without observation. Pure consciousness is like this quantum field of infinite potential, where nothing is yet fixed. The ego acts as an instrument of cosmic reduction. The act of attention and appropriation reduces infinite potential into a finite form, a specific personality with a history and body. The paradox is that the created measuring device, the ego, begins to consider itself the source of reality. In postmodern society, the ego becomes a servant of the simulation. Consumer society has created an ideal environment for a hypertrophied ego. If the classical ego served reality, the modern one serves a digital facade. Existential inflation is when a person identifies not with what they are, but with a broadcast persona. This leads to the quantum fragility of the digital phantom. The modern person remains in a mixed state until confirmation from others, likes, temporarily collapses their identity. The ego becomes a simulacrum, a sign without a signified, appropriating the void. 4 disciplines point to one truth. The transdisciplinary conclusion is that the ego is a functional illusion, a necessary stage of cosmic unfolding, yet prone to pathological self-forgetfulness. Psychology sees it as a need for dialogue with the unconscious. Science sees it as a dynamic process. The path from appropriator to observer requires a radical shift of attention, moving beyond the cult of narcissistic appropriation. Ramana Maharshi's question, "Who am I?" leads to the dissolution of the I thought into the source of consciousness. True freedom lies in recognizing the boundlessness of the space where the I arises. Only by ceasing to be the, quote, appropriator can the observer become what they truly are.